8.4 about angles of elevation and depression. Problem 1 talks about having the description of the angle in this picture. Again, I apologize for my drawing, but that's a hot air balloon, that's a mountain on the right, and this little V-looking thing is a bird. I know, fantastic drawing. That's why I got A's in art all the time. But here, in A, we're looking at angle 1. The key here is to look at the horizontal line. So look at angle 1 and find the horizontal. See how the horizontal line's above it? So that tells you that angle 1 is an angle of depression. Okay, what if we look at angle 4? Again, find the horizontal line. What is that off the horizontal? Notice how it goes up? That makes this an angle of elevation. Problem 2 is about using angle of elevation. Suppose you stand 53 feet from a wind farm turbine. So here's my turbine. There's my turbine. Fantastic drawing again. Here's me. "53 feet from it." They say that my angle of elevation to the turbine, so from right here to there, is 56.5 degrees. Okay? Understand, your eye level is 5 foot 5 feet above the ground. We'll get that in a second. How tall is the turbine? So I want to find what that is right there. Okay? So again, write it on your paper. So, ka, toa. What do I have? Identify your hypotenuse, which is over here. They don't have that, so I can cancel sine and cosine. I know I'm dealing with tangent because I don't have an hypotenuse. So the tangent of 56.5 degrees equals opposite, which is x, over adjacent, which is 53. Again, solving for x, let's multiply both sides by 53. That's going to give me x equals 53 times the tangent of 56.5 is about 80.074 feet. So that's from your eye level to the top of the turbine. Well, how tall is the turbine total? Well, they tell me it's 5.5 feet above the ground. So if that distance is approximately 80 feet, what I'm going to do to tell the whole height is I'm going to take 80 feet plus 5.5 feet and make the turbine 85.5 feet above the ground. Problem 3 talks about a pilot must begin a 3-degree descent starting at a height of 2,714 feet above sea level. Airport is 1,007 feet above sea level. How far from runway is airplane at start of approach? Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here, but we want to talk about how far from the airport at the start of the approach. Well, let's just draw a triangle here. I'm not even going to begin to try to draw an airplane. So if we talk about here, this is my triangle. Let's pretend the plane's over here, over at this spot, trying to descend. Now, we're talking about a 3-degree descent. So again, it's always off the horizontal. So my horizontal line's right there. My 3 degrees is actually outside the triangle. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a second. They say that a height is 2,714 feet above sea level, and the airport is 1,007 feet above sea level. So, what is this distance here? If this is my airport, and this is my plane, what is this distance? That's going to be 2,714 minus 1,007. Why? Because they're both above sea level, so we're good. That's going to give me 1,707. So this distance right here is 1,707 feet. Now back to the triangle. We have parallel lines here. The horizontal and this are parallel, cut by a transversal, so we know alternate interior angles are congruent. So if this is 3 degrees, guess what? That is also 3 degrees. Be careful. Descent or angle of descent here or depression is not inside the triangle. That is not 3 degrees. That is right there. Okay, so there's my 90 degrees. That's my hypotenuse. So we're looking for how far from the runway is the airplane at the start of this. So we want to know what this distance right here is. That's how far the plane is from the runway. Okay, not down here at the bottom. Be careful when you read these things. It's tough sometimes. So we have the hypotenuse and we have opposite. Opposite and hypotenuse, again, write it. So, ka, toa. Okay, what is the opposite and hypotenuse? That's sine. So the sine of 3 degrees equals opposite, which is 1707, divided by hypotenuse, which is x. Well, be careful here. We're going to have to multiply by x, and this presents a little bit of an issue. That's going to cancel. We get x sine of 3 degrees equals 1707. How do I solve for x still? I need to divide by sine of 3. That's going to cancel. Divide by the sine of 3. Remember, the sine of 3 is just a number. Okay, so it's just a number times x. It's just written a little weird. So x equals 1707 divided by sine of 3. And again, we'll talk about calculator stuff tomorrow. Gives me approximately 32,616. 0.1997. And this is in feet. So remember, if you needed to convert or anything like this just asks how far from the runway it is. It doesn't talk about anything else, but again, understand your units that you're dealing with.